Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to When the Shift Hits the Fan. And the fourth part of our series, The Path of the Entrepreneur. Actually, the path of the successful entrepreneur. I'm here tonight again with my co-host, Linda Lamons, Mark Jeffrey, up in a very cold Canada tonight. And I want to apologize to everyone for giving you the wrong link for tonight. I actually set the meeting for Sunday, so of course when you came, it was over. So I know that some of you are just coming in here a little bit late because of that. And again, I apologize. I just cannot read a calendar. I am multi-talented. That apparently is not one of them. So tonight we want to continue on in our conversation that we were having about being an entrepreneur. And, you know, it's funny because during the week we kind of talk about what we want to set up and do for this session. And then things happen throughout the week that, you know, kind of runs me kilter, and I think of other things that I really want to talk to you about. And so we realized that we're probably not going to actually complete this in 4 series or 4 parts because it's just so important. Maybe we could probably talk about this, Linda, I think, you know, on and on and on, because we're both entrepreneurs. So again, every week that goes by, we grow in our experiences, but we also meet other people who are struggling. And it's funny, Linda, talk to me about this too, because I know that we talk a lot about starting off, but you know, when you do get through the struggle, when you're kind of hitting your stride, you really do sometimes forget that you know, hair pulling out frustration that you had when you first started, don't you?
Oh, that's a good one, Mark, and yes, you do. Once you get through that real tough part, you put it behind you, and you move on to bigger and better things. And so you're right. You forget about the hard part, the struggles, the busting through the terror barrier, the obstacles that you feel like are thrown up in your face every single step of the way.
Yeah, and I know tonight, you know, we're talking about making time for success and putting it in your life and having it become part of it. But it was funny because the reason I brought this up was I was actually creating a new sales funnel, and I've been testing out some stuff for one of the businesses, and I was putting together something that I actually hadn't done for quite a while because it was set up. I had no reason to change it, but you know, I decided that it really wasn't bringing me the numbers and the money that I really wanted it to. And I thought, you know, if I'm going to do something, I want it to pay off for me. And, you know, $5 every couple of months just wasn't cutting it anymore. So I thought, you know what, maybe it's had its run and I should replace things. And I was doing the hair pulling out thing because I'm going, I can't even remember how to do this now. You know, and I thought something that I thought was going to take just a few minutes to switch out, I actually had to go back and watch all the videos again about how to do it. And I realized at that moment in time, even when, you know, you're hitting it big, there are going to be days when you're going to want to throw your computer, the cat, and maybe a bunch of boxes at a wall.
Don't throw the cat.
I'll teach you how to fly. We talk. It's an inside joke. I did that one of my first shows, and the cat was running all over my keyboard, and I was in the middle of the show, and I just kind of flung the cat, and I said out loud, "Oh, the cat can fly." But you know, we digress here. Sorry, folks, but this is serious business. It really is. And hey, you know, and if you're in that position where that happens to you, I mean, Linda and I just both, you know, you get to the point where you kind of go with the flow, but last night, you know, I really did realize that this isn't an easy thing to wrap your head around in the first place. This is tough stuff. And if anybody tells you anything different, ask them how much money they're trying to get out of your pocketbook at that moment in time. See, what Linda and I do here every Monday night, it's called free advice. Right? You can take it or not. That's entirely up to you. We don't charge a dime for this. You either show up or you don't, and that's okay with us. But people who are trying to make money off of you are going to pretty much say anything to get the money out of your hands and into theirs. And this isn't just in the internet marketing world. This is from the bank, from the grocery store, the sales, come and buy from me, don't buy from that one, buy. We're everywhere we go, right, Linda? Everywhere we go, somebody's trying to get money out of your pocket, and they're trying to undermine somebody else in order to get it. So we're talking about this tonight. How do you make a good decision? Linda, if you're going to look at a business that you wanted to bring into your portfolio, because, both you and I look all the time, what do you kind of look for? What things kind of ring your bell that you should walk away, and what makes you feel comfortable? How do you make those decisions?
Good question, Mark. And it depends on exactly what I'm looking for, because sometimes there's some startup businesses out there that have really, really good potential. But first and foremost, if I was just getting my feet wet, I would look for the longevity of the business. And I would also just do some quick research. And I actually did this today, Mark, on something. I followed some Facebook something over the weekend, and I thought, ooh, I'd like a free pair of tennis shoes. And so I kind of followed that to see where it went. Well, because I followed that, I got something in my inbox just today about, work from home, only put in 15 hours a week and earn $7,000 to $8,000. And I thought, let's see where this goes. So I went as far as to get the company name, and then, a lot of people would have bought into the hype because they did a pretty good job on their sales letter. But I thought, well, let's find out more about the company. So I started Googling the company, and boy, Mark, I found out tons of information. It was all a huge scam.
Yep.
Now, I know a lot of people will sit there and not do the research.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is that now it's a lot harder to get away with things. However, you will find, some of the bigger ones, and it's interesting. Yeah, here I'm walking all over the place because my mind's just going. There's a big company out there, and I won't name them, but they're, anti-aging product that they've been on every program that's on, and they've been on Ellen, and now this other guy, Warren Buffett's probably going to invest. It's all of this stuff about this particular company. Now, they've been asking me for forever to become, a representative for them, and because I've been looking for a product to add to my line, and I haven't really found one. I have not found, here, ladies, I have not found one that actually works, and I'll tell you, don't spend your money. I've spent all of my money. They just simply don't work, right? You might get minimal results, but go to your dermatologist and spend the money with him. Don't spend on anything that you see online, on TV. They're endorsing it. And that's what I said. Anybody can be paid any amount of money to endorse these things. So, how it's hard. I get it, guys. It's really hard. I've had people say to me, well, don't listen to anything you see on Facebook, on Google, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on the SEC. Don't listen to any of that. That's not true. We're really upstanding people. I'm going, yeah, okay. Turnip truck, falling off, ring a bell.
It does, Mark, and it goes back to sound business principles. Whether you're wanting to do or get into an online business, or whether you're wanting to get into a brick and mortar business, the principles are the same. You do your research, you check out the company, you check out the people involved in the company, you ask for references, get referrals, get references. Check out the people involved and see what they're doing, or see how long they've been doing it, or ask when did they start, like in the internet marketing world, when did you really start building your list? Where did your list of people come from so that you move from one to the other, but you have this humongous list of people following you? So yeah, you can make the big money, but what about the person with a list of 10 or 20 or 100 people that they email to? What about those people?
Yep. And it's funny too, because over the last, I've been, since 2007 is when I've really, seriously been building my business online. It was funny. I have to tell you this story because it was law of attraction and stuff. And I had written myself a check, and what's the date on this? May 15th, 2007. I wrote myself a check for $500,000, right? Great idea. I didn't put a date on it. Like, so, yeah, in your lifetime, Mark, perhaps. But I didn't, I looked at it one day and I thought, I've achieved that and much more than I don't want anybody to think that this is not a great way to make a living. But sometimes you can have really good intentions and not follow through. And I did a really bad follow through on this one because I thought, oh, and I didn't even sign it. So I didn't even really commit to this. I'm thinking, what were you thinking back then? And you know what? I realized something. Even though, and we talk a lot about what's going on in your subconscious mind, even though it wasn't there, I didn't have the belief system yet that this is something that I could do. Yeah, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to make that $500,000. Now I keep saying I was really lucky, but I really worked hard at this. Like anything I do, I pick it up, I work hard at it. Because if I'm going to prove it doesn't work, like if I'm going to prove the fail point, and I guess equate this with working out, work out until your muscles fail. That's when you should quit and then push one more time. That's what I do in my business. And I do that, and it took me some time to, even still working that hard, to actually have that belief, true and honest belief that, you know what, I think I can actually do this. So you got to give yourself some time. Don't give your last dime to somebody and then expect that the next day you're going to have money. And see, I've been testing out a few little systems that I found along the way. And they're actually from guys that I really do respect. I've been to their events. I've heard them speak. I've been on their newsletter list for a while. I really, these are the kind of guys that are pretty upstanding guys, and they've developed some things. And, they fall in line with what I'm doing, and it's going to automate a lot of the things that I now do. So that's a great thing to do. But here's the kicker. When I first started, even though I had the money, I didn't invest in all of these trickery, wizardry, right? I just didn't because for me, I wanted to understand the process better. I wanted to understand, how do you get leads? I mean, let's face it, folks, if you don't have buyers, Linda, what's going to happen to you?
You may have the best product in the whole wide world, but if you don't have buyers, you're not going to sell it. You're going to be sitting there twiddling your thumbs, and your business is not going to get off the ground.
Yeah. So you know what? I would put a reverse on everything. If I was starting off tomorrow and I knew nothing, the first thing I'd do is I'd start taking some marketing courses before I invested one dime in anything to see if I could actually put the effort and work into that part of it, because it doesn't come easy. And it like people say, oh yeah, get on Facebook and get 10,000 people to like you tomorrow. But you've never written anything in your life. You can't do it. And people that say that that's going to be an easy gig, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do this. I'm saying you should, because I'm having the time of my life. I love what I do.
And you know what, Mark, you just said something very important a few sentences back that I really want our listeners to grasp. With any endeavor that we stretch ourselves to achieve, and there's no achievement, first of all, Mark, unless we're stretching ourselves and doing something where we have to grow ourselves. But you said something very important. In any endeavor that you strive to achieve, there's going to be some lessons that need to be learned. or some skills that need to be learned along the way. And it's incredibly important that we allow ourselves, we schedule our time for learning before we ever jump wholeheartedly into this, because otherwise it's going to be one struggle after the next. So we need to give ourselves permission to learn the new skill as we go along.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that people, when you really think about that logically, it doesn't make any sense. That would be, say, if you look at it in a real concept, is I'm going to be the SEO of Pepsi, and you haven't gone to school yet.
Yeah.
Or you don't even know what Pepsi is yet. But people jump into online things and they give up. What is this? I mean, God, some of these are $20,000, $30,000, and then they'll want more. Like, that's a lot of coin to put on something that you have no idea will even work for you. Like, I'm always cautious with people that I bring into my business, but that's more of a selfish thing. I really have to admit that, because I only want to work with people that are going to get up in the morning and work and do what they need to do to become successful. Because I just abhor whiners. Like, if you whine at me once, it's like, I'm sorry, the number you've dialed is not in service. But I'm very careful before I take somebody's money. But you got to understand, that's not prevalent in online marketing. What's prevalent is, you're chum in the water.
And they're going to teach you how to chum the water too.
Exactly.
For a price.
Yeah. It's like, some of it is just ridiculous, and I just don't even know why people. And I guess some of it is very cultish in the way that it is. Like, and what you said right at the very beginning of this, when I look at a business, it has to be a business. Okay, it can't be that everybody goes to events and jumps up and down and screams and parties and pretends that they all made money, when 99.9% of them don't know how they're going to pay this bill when they get home. And nobody at the party cares about that either. And I know that there's some value to going to events. I know I go to them, but I'm pretty particular about the ones that I go to. But here's the bottom line, guys. I have the money to do that. I would never go to an event if I wasn't going to be able to, if I couldn't pay my mortgage, feed my family, make my car payment, buy my health insurance, whatever it is in real world. I would never hawk anything in order to be in an online business or go to an event. I would have to have the cash in hand to be able to do that. I mean, and everybody knows I was even having should I, shouldn't I, when I had to use the $250,000 to buy my life back from cancer. So I'm pretty discerning.
As we all should be. I'm going to touch on events for just a minute because I agree with you. There is benefit to attending events. But again, you want to look at it very closely. Not above anybody, but like other people, I enjoy motivational events because it does pump you up. But when you're looking at an event, whatever the company is, you want to think about the purpose of you going to this event. Are you going to this event to receive motivation? Then you want to look for a really good, high-end, high-quality motivational event. Are you going to this event because you think that when you come out of it, then you're going to receive the magic wand, and by the time you get home, you'll be a millionaire? You not want to think twice about that one. Or are you going to this event because you want to network with a lot of people who think along the same lines that you do? Set your purpose for the event before you go, and then make that event worthwhile for you.
Exactly, and you're right, Linda. People aren't always going for the same thing. Some people just like to going to events because that's their life. That's their entertainment. That's their, they like it. Okay, I don't even know. I can't put my head in that space, so I can't come up with the right verb for it. So I apologize to everybody. If there's nothing wrong with you people, it's nothing wrong with doing that. I can't figure it out. And that's cool too, though, right? If you go to these events and you have the money to do it, and that's not hurting anybody, and you want to hang with these people, that's great. But here's another thing too, and I will say this: don't make that your life. I mean, have a real life. This virtual world that we live in, it can be pretty weird and scary at times. I mean, especially, you look at kids now, and I mean, they're inside this thing, on their devices. They're not even looking at people anymore. It can be a really scary world to be in, and that's why I have, and we're talking about this, why I schedule things. I schedule when I'm working. And I have had people, Linda, that have gotten upset with me because on Sunday I won't have a meeting with them. Well, sorry, but that's my day off. That's my day to do things that I enjoy doing. And it's interesting because they'll see that I've made a post on Twitter or on Facebook because I'm out being a goofball in the middle of a snowstorm. Well, you have time for that. How come you didn't have time to talk to me? You don't really.
A business.
That's what we're talking about. This is a business. Would you do that to your boss? Don't treat it. I don't know. I'm at a loss, obviously, because it's not very often I run out of words.
Well, I think we bring it back around. We're talking about successful entrepreneurs, and successful entrepreneurs treat their business as a business, because that's what it is. It's not a hobby. It's not playtime. It is a business. And so what we all need to do is wrap professionalism, businessism, I don't know if that's a word, but I just made it up and I like it.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like it.
Thank you. Wrap businessism around your business. I mean, unless it's a 24/7 operation or a grocery store or something, typically it's not open on the weekend. It's not open on a Sunday, especially. I look at because everybody knows I have a foot in the corporate world and a foot in my own business. And you're right, Mark. I wouldn't chastise my boss in my corporate world because he wasn't available to talk with me on a Sunday or even a Saturday, because I value my downtime. I value my family time, and I give that same respect to the others I work with. And maybe it's all about respecting yourself.
Yeah, I guess, respecting yourself, respecting other people. But the thing is, I mean, I get the enthusiasm too, and we talked about this a little bit along the week. Sometimes you get so enthusiastic about something that you forget that there's money involved, there's other people involved, there's your family, there is building a business. And it was it was cool too, because just today I was driving across town, and the clothing company that I sold like many moons ago, right? I happened to look up to the building that it was in, and obviously they were sold to a bigger corporation because it was a different name, and the thing was as bigger. And it was kind of funny because I sat there and I'm going, man, you know what? I started that. Like, that was all me. And that was in the back of a dirty old warehouse that I painted myself. That's so cool. I mean, and that's how I look at it. That's a business that has a banner on it, like it's a store. It's something that is still thriving that I started. To me, that's what I look at my internet business. That's how I pick them. They may be, like Linda said, they might be just starting off and not have too much to them, but I'll see who's involved and what their integrity is and how they work and whether or not I can incorporate this and work with them. I mean, and I've been involved with a business that's been working through the process of building something substantial over the last 5 years. Very exciting for me to do because I've been able to watch something grow, and it allows me to grow. It allows me to understand from the ground up this blood, sweat, and tears that has to go into doing things. it's one thing if you go out and you get a bunch of people that you know of, because, and here's the thing, a lot of these internet people, they're the same people that hang together everywhere. And if you get online and you watch for a while, you're going to see the same names, and they're all together. And they've got these big lists, and they drag them all over the internet, and they scoop up more people. It's just like a big net picking up the little fish along the way. That's what they do. And is that a real business? Is any of it a business? Well, from my perspective, it's not. Because there's no, like in 2 years, I'm not going to see them. They're going to be on to something new and different, the new shiny object out there scooping up more money and dragging these people with them again. Oh, sorry, that one didn't work out. I know we're just down here, but I'm going to bring up a name to you. And everybody I know is going to know about this, Rippling. Now, remember when Rippling came out? Yeah.
Yes.
And they're like, and it was they were going to be the next best thing. You know, they were everywhere. They were on talk shows. They were, everywhere. And crickets.
Mhm.
All the big names were in it. Everybody was getting in it, but zero happened because it was a flash in the pan idea of ridiculous. And that's really what it was. I looked and I thought, how can this be anything?
Right. It boils down to it, Mark. We all need to ask the question of ourselves, how can I serve? Because if you're going into a business, whatever it is that you choose to do and wherever you choose to do it, if you go into it from the mindset of how can I help? How can I serve my others or my fellow human being? What do I have that I can give? If you're going into business to give, your business will thrive.
Mhm. It will, and it's not a bad thing, guys. Like this night is yours because it was asked for, and maybe on Monday nights for this half an hour I could be doing something with my business. But Linda and I have made a choice, and we love it, to be able to come out here and just talk about the things that matter to us. And again, we never came out here thinking, I'm going to be Oprah. It was, in fact, it wasn't even an aspiration. We just wanted to go out, and we said this from day one, continue to say it. If one person today gets something out of this, then it's a good day in our ballpark. It just is. And we get excited when we see how many people are watching our shows now and stuff. And every time it's like, ooh, not how much money we're making. It's, oh my gosh, look how many people we helped this week.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's something we are giving. We don't, sure, you can look us up on the internet and find us and join us in business. Certainly we welcome you. But that's not what this is about. This is about us helping you to understand what happens out there. It's an awesome world. I love it. I love my life. But you seriously have to be careful about how you enter this depending on who you are, what kind of money that you have as an expendable income. If you're going to invest a lot of money, then like Linda said, you really have to look at this from a business and be a little more discerning about where you put your money. And some of it borders on the most ridiculous I've ever seen. I am not going to pay $500 to hear somebody tell me about how they're stealing money from other people. But there's stuff out there that you can buy for that.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly somebody's going to make money at doing it. Somebody's going to want to take a shortcut. But it's not going to be there tomorrow. And you're going to get caught. We know of so many people that are in, what would they call, Facebook jail, Twitter banned. And they come out and say, oh, there's something wrong with Facebook. They can't get an account on PayPal. There's something wrong there, people. These are established things, okay? And if WordPress won't talk to you, there's a problem. So, that I know here we are again. I tell you, Linda, this is going to have to go more than 4 walks along the park here, because it's just too important and it's too big. It's just too big. There's no step-by-step formula. Let's tell you that, because each and every person is going to attack this in a different way. You're going to dedicate different hours than what I might, or what Linda does, or that the next guy does, or the leader of the pack does. You're going to have more outside influences. And you know what? Here, we're going to go over a little bit, but this is important. When people tell you what your family and your friends says doesn't matter about your business, I call that horse bucky. You know what? Because sometimes you get so drawn into something that you cannot see the reality of it, that maybe you should listen to somebody. And I'm not saying listen to the people who have all your life said, you're not worth it. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying is when somebody says, I took a look at that and you might want to take another look at this, or are you sure you can afford to do that? And I know some people think everything on the internet is just complete craziness. That's because most of it is. It is, right? And we talked about this. Is like I saw something on one of my Facebook posts where a guy had said something about everything that gets said, you believe. And then I happened to say, yeah, and then they put it on the internet, and everyone believes it. You got to be careful out there, guys. Read, like Linda said, do your research. If somebody got scammed on it, they might be a little bit volatile and maybe over the top about the way they say things. But you know what? That where there's smoke, there's fire. It can sometimes be true. When there is a little bit of deception, you might maybe not steer clear of it, but at least at the very, very least, be aware of it. And Linda, I'm going to leave the last words to you. I know I talked a lot tonight, but I kind of got a little bit fired up again. And and maybe let's give them some positive stuff happening out there, because you're the most positive person in the world.
Oh, thank you. What I'd like to do, Mark, is kind of take a look at how far we've come over the last 4 weeks, because we have both shared some very, very valuable information. So I wanted to kind of summarize tonight briefly on just how far we've come. And these may not be the do-all, end-all steps, but these are certainly steps to get you moving in the right direction. So the first thing that we talked about, decide what you want and why you want it. And make that desire so strong that you cannot even imagine being without it. Number 2, write down your goals. Number 3, visualize every day already having your goal being reached. Feel it. Feel what it feels like. Taste what it tastes like. Smell what it smells like, and hear what it sounds like. Number 4, allow yourself to learn what you must learn to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. Number 5, schedule your learning and your action activities. And number 6, most important, always believe that success is happening for you and it is arriving at exactly the right time.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So my friends, I'm gonna just leave it there, because it's a perfect ending to this, and we will be back next week, and we'll be chatting about something else that happened during the week. So from here, Mark in Canada, good night, everybody.
And good night, everybody, from Linda in Florida.